everyone. Welcome to another episode. To be honest, I was debating whether I should give an episode tonight or not, but I felt why not. When has energy been a problem? Anyways, a sort of inner vision arose to me, and I was actually thinking about the human being and what remembering is. You see, we put a lot of attention. I find the species academically, globally, puts a lot of attention on how the human being is the shape it is now. That means we use evolution as a way to understand what we have become. Now, something interesting, and of course, this is my view on reality, my view on evolution. I'm one of those people who has his own. Uh, the way I understand evolution, and not the Darwinian sense, let's say the Mr.Withinian sense, is that I see four stages. And there was an unconscious world, then there was a unconscious self, then there was a conscious self, and then there will be a conscious world. We're not there yet. So pretty much an object became a subject to itself, and the human brain, we can say, is a sort of archive of various senses of self. That means every person right now, it's if somebody asks you, who are you, you may have a vision, like an image in your mind and say that. But really, what we are is an unknown observer of all the moments that we were conscious of in this lifetime. Really, sure, on some level, a human being, because there's a body there, because that body individualizes to have a personality. But really, what is going on is that it's some force. Some force is animate, it is moving. Do you know, just like imagine a light in the darkness, or you turn on a candle, suddenly there is a spirit to the room. When I say a spirit to the room, that means it's the light of the candle illuminates a reality. So I was looking at this notion of, okay, we have the human being. The human being has various memories. A person may identify with whatever is happening to them, let's say in the present moment, but in any moment where they're present, they can instantly remember, like yesterday, or remember even themselves in a dream state. So what I'm saying is that it's as if various senses of self have come and gone. And now, if we were to look at this relationship of as if our real eyes is like what's the way I could say it? It's like our consciousness uh, has been going through modes of life, right? And each mode, each sense of self. So if you now try to fractalize this, that means we think about, okay, we have an individual human being's memory of their sense of self, but now let's think of a universal self. Let's think of a cosmic level of a self. I'm not saying that we should try to touch the idea of God, but I'm saying that if you were to fathom the same way how you remember who you were yesterday and all your past is accessible to you, even the ability to visualize, if we were to think about the cosmos not being some physical endless landscape, but to fathom it as a state of mind. And so it's as if the rise and fall of civilizations is like the memories of a cosmic mind, okay, if we were to think of it that way. Okay, guys, I don't know what else I can do with the microphone. You know, the microphone's close enough, and I checked the input of the my MacBook, and it's still banned. It's full. So, anyways, hopefully people can hear me, and if not, I don't know. At least the ideas will emerge now. You see, I'm trying to paint this picture for everybody listening that we have memory. Our sense of intelligent human memory is like an archive of all the senses or attempts at self we have been. And to me, if you start thinking about not just the life of an individual human being and what role memory plays, but to start thinking of the life of the species, okay, and even going into bigger frameworks of this, it's pretty much a fractal from memory. That means really it's like, and of course, I just remember there's a person named Rupert Sheldrake. He speaks about morphic fields, but what it is it's just the fractalization of memory. What that means is it's like, okay, if human beings have a memory, the species has a memory. If the species has a memory, then in some sense, like, okay, let's say now the planet has a memory, and beyond the memory of the planet, the galaxy, the universe, it just keeps going into whatever categorization we have for the macrocosm. But to me, the memory of the species is the main point. That's the thing I want to get to. It's as if on this planet, how many different types of civilizations have occurred? How old is it? Do you see what I'm saying? That means there is enough time. Like, look at the human mystery. It's so fascinating. Not only there's Fermi's paradox, where we're like, if the universe is so old, why is it so empty? Why hasn't greater, let's say, extraterrestrial intelligence evolved in our solar system and whatnot? Right, so there's the awe and the mystery of, like, okay, that beyond our atmosphere, right? Then there is, like, within our atmosphere, right, the mystery of how many different types of human beings have lived. Like, to me, it's just fascinating. On some level, I am humbled by the type of awareness the future has. What I mean by this is that right now we're living in an individual era. Right now, there's let's say a bunch of human beings are popular, and majority of human beings are looking at them through media, right? But the same amount of significance and mystery of unknown worlds behind the eyes of people is there for everyone, right? It's as if our species has this incredible advanced ability, but it hasn't realized it. The species, not the individual. Because an individual can experience the most advanced individual reality. You could even feel like you remember how would I say it? It's like the most advanced psychological state can occur for an individual, but it will not be the most advanced event when there is a collective position. And to me, whatever achievement of the individual, it's just for the individual. That means whatever I'm doing, like if this, like, here's the hilarious thing. If this microphone and the internet didn't exist right now, right, it's as if my inner realms would have been just left to my own eyes, unless I would write them or whatnot. But I'm saying it's as if now our inner worlds are like bridging. It's like language is being a bridge between what is real behind the eyes of a person and what is real in front of the eyes. So there is an incredible mystery. That means there is no knowledge that could satisfy the thirst of this mystery, of how many different ways existence has existed and how many different ways it's going to exist. And beyond individual advancement, there's collective advancement, and beyond collective advancement, this is where the subtitle of this episode starts making sense to the viewers. In the subtitle, so the episode's called The Cosmic Archive of Civilizations. In the subtitle, I've written The Conceivable Future's Inconceivable Future. Do you see? That means after the victory of the individual, after the victory of the collective, The last victory of intelligence would be the conceivable over the inconceivable. That means it would be as if, like, if in the very far future there arises kings of conception, or states of being that they have experienced all, I shouldn't say all, but instantly, how would I say it? It's as if a psychology that has experienced all the different ways human beings can behave in an instant, right? That's what I mean by the king of conception, like an ultra collective mind. Do you know? Where all individual moments are being. Guys, on my streaming, so I read the chat section. On my streaming software, it says it's the volume should be audible. So I don't know if it's too burdensome for some listeners. Your ears can fly to different branches. Anyways, the conceivable future is inconceivable future. Which is another way of saying the games of manifestation fulfill, or the mysteries of infinity return to their source. Pretty much the intersection of the inconceivable and the intersection of, or let's say the entry. It's like conception entering an inconceivable portal. That would be a way I would say. That's kind of like very far in the future what they need to deal with. But anyways, all my attention will go to a cosmic archive of civilization. So even though the world is wrapped with mystery, it's surrounded by mystery and unknown variables. The unknown variables of the moment they surpass any known variable. That means on some level it's impossible to know anything in a universe this vast. And even if we know something, it is such a tiny percentage that it's as if, like, it's still nothing. It's as if a person looks at a map and can only see the corner of it, right? It's as if it's like whatever amount of knowing that corner of the map gives, you still haven't seen the whole thing, right? So our species is in that dilemma. And because the existence is so vast and there's so much of it, sometimes I get the feeling, and this is really a strange thing for a human being to say, but I get the feeling that this world was not designed for creatures. Its vastness it's too big. It's too big. It's as if, like, somebody. It's like, okay, it would be like this, where like, imagine the red blood cells in the body, like, suddenly became conscious, and they were like, where are we? What's the purpose of our world, right? And then they see all the cells that are just being the body, but they don't see as the body, right? So I'm pretty much saying that fascination is the only entrance into the macrocosm, which is another way of saying that the moment a person is fascinated, it's as if for a moment they have released how the past is holding, meaning for them. I think about, excuse me. Um, oh my God, this audio problem is. Okay, guys, I'll get rid of this microphone I have, and I'll use the Okay, is this better? You know, someone listening to this and not realizing I'm looking at the chat section, they'll be like, what is he saying? Okay, okay. Guys, let me take a moment to just enjoy this victory. Okay, to try to rekindle the flame again. Let me see how I can catch my rhythm. Okay. You know, here's the thing. I think I'll set for myself the intent of this episode to just meditate on this cosmic archive of civilizations. Oh, I remember I was talking about how the cells in our body, if they were conscious and they try to understand universe based on what they had access to, it's as if the human body's agenda would be inconceivable to it. So what we notice in this world is really that levels are inside levels, and it's as if it's all changing. You know, I've actually made some notes. I didn't want to follow these notes, but maybe now's a good time. Okay, here, I'll go into this idea. So let's follow this idea that, okay, the universe is just endlessly bringing forth civilizations, you know, civilizations rising, falling, rising, falling. So it's as if it's trying to either sculpt something in a masterful way, or it's as if it's like a failed attempt. You know, it's as if the civilization, you know, couldn't make a. Or here, I'll say it this way. Various archetypes can be given to a cosmic personality. If we were to have this view that there is some sort of utility in what the universe creates, it's as if, why is all this happening? You know, why is existence existing? And why, during its existence, it has a temporary consciousness to it? You know, it could be that just like a human being lives a day and they, you know, at the end of the day are getting ready to go to sleep, it's as if the day had a sort of meaning. It could be like the endless cycle of chaos and order is just, you know, a day in the life of a day in the life of a universal being, you know. whatever reality is doing, we know that we are a small part of it. Being a small part of it means that we are aware of a giant event. It's as if on a, like when you think of reality on a macrocosmic level, it's like that's where the party is at, and the microcosm is like outside of the door of the party. You hear the music, but you're not in the party. Right? So maybe till the end of time we will seek, a collective being. Even if there wasn't the concept of God, or any sort of, let's say, collective archetype, it would just emerge. It's natural. I mean, what has consciousness done? Consciousness is like a part of the earth aware of itself. Now, this consciousness knows that its body, like the human being knows, every human being knows that this body will at some point just be dismissed. It's as if, imagine, your mind is a commanding officer, and imagine your body, all the cells of your body are like soldiers, And so once the soldiers have won the war, it's as if there's no purpose to be a soldier, It's as if once the task is done, it's as if they will be dismissed. The cells, the periodic table will return to itself beyond how mind holds it, let's say. Right, so if the mind is a commanding officer, at some point the soldiers will leave. Then the commanding officer is left with itself. Now, let's use the idea of like the general being the soul, and the soul not being an individual. That means the body's individual, and the mind that appears to be projected from the body can be individual. The mind can also be the whole moment. That means every human being listening to me right now, I feel everyone knows deep down, they know that they have been, like, their mind is their whole moment. So when you have a memory of yourself, you're actually being this, you're remembering the space where your existence was being in. So that means we are watching our lives. Just like how viewers are listening to me, it's as if every person's been viewing their own existence, which is strange, right? It's like the strangest thing. Why we have this additional dimension of consciousness where we can see ourselves happen before we happen. Like, that is what the mind is. The mind is like it's like the life of the human being in a faster dimension, or in a dimension that is getting more and more closer to the instantaneous, because anything in time is temporary, right? Like my body right now, it's temporary because the formation of these, the way these cells are being me right now, they will change, right? And so change is pretty much how, change is on some level novelty, but we understand change through time. So when something can change into something else, then there's like time. It's like more than just one instantaneous moment of being. Change is like a cell becoming two cells. So we all know that the body will leave, and it's kind of like, who are these memories for then? It's as if a creature spends its whole life just, archiving memories, versions of itself every day, energetic efforts and expressions of itself, only to at the end let go of it, right? Because our memories have a value because they help the body survive, right? It's as if our intelligence, it's like the more intelligent the person is, we can say it's like the more it's like there is an adaptive factor, it's like the creatures that adjust get to see more of the event, of the existential event. You know what it is? It's like an unknown intelligence. And this unknown intelligence has been going through phases, and in one of the phases, it is like human. And based on that phase, it wants to define all the other phases that will come and the phases that were there before, right? It's as if like truth stands outside of our minds, beyond our minds, even if the concept of in and out is let's say you don't like that. You know, it's kind of like on Earth, civilizations rise and fall, and behind the eyes of the person, just for the mind, it's like attention is rising and falling. I mean, pretty much it's really a sort of cyclical waving existence. You know, we log into consciousness in the morning, and then when we're about to sleep, we log out of it. And then if a person has a dream, it's like you accessed another inner server, like a private server of your mind. But again, you come back to the public server. It's as if like could human life be like a multiplayer online game for the gods, you know? I mean, really, for human beings right now, the species is like lost in character customization. More than people care about what their species is doing, they care about what they are doing. You know, it's kind of hilarious to me, actually. So many people, they act like they love their family, and they act like they love their grandchildren, but they don't care for what they can't see. And that's advancement, to start caring for the unseen, for invisible potentials in it that are present in every moment. I am telling you, there was a time, like here, I'll even say it right now, like let's say I become self-conscious and I'm like, oh man, should I give this talk or not, right? But then in my mind there occurs this idea that there is probably someone on this planet right now who is, let's say, you know, communicating way better than me in the moment, you know? And because they're communicating way better than me in the moment, it's as if I don't need to get lost in my own belief when there's a potential, when there's another probability of something being done, right? So I'm saying that in every moment, whatever a person does, I mean, of course, there's this concept of opportunity cost in economics, so it's as if it's like the opportunity cost of our decisions to exist. You know, it's as if I could be like sleeping right now, but I'm relaying my inner visions. And really, I think it's because a part of me got overwhelmed by the unknown. And then after that, like here, I've experienced certain, I can say, transcendental, let's say, states where I am just present. I am not a sense of self. It's as if the memory, like an engine, suddenly stops like making its noise, and the person is just there, present as their moment. The more still we are, actually, we identify with the mind, because the mind is being space, you know, but the body's being what's moving in space. So it's as if the more stillness the person has, or even silence, the more they will be a field of intelligence, you know. And you know, the more a person actually animates or moves or speaks, they're being a particular intelligence. And honestly, I mean, macrocosmic questions, their answers are unknown, but in regards to, you know, what else can the small do in the big, it's as if, imagine our species is on the shoulder of a giant,
and we can't see the giant's face. We just know we're on its shoulder, and we can get the sense that this giant is running somewhere, in the void, right? So it's as if being on the shoulder of a giant and being like, okay, how do we advance into the next stage? Because really, that's the only thing physicality can do. It's like the physical live to see new ways of their own physicalism, you know? Like how many, like the self-help industry is huge. Why? Because people, it's as if the same way a person can get bored of reading a comic book, or reading a book or whatever, like it's like the same, or seeing a film, the person can get bored. Like we get bored of our inner films, and then we seek something more. And it's as if, how many people on the planet in their inner realms, it's as if they are enlightened, but in the outer realms, it's as if like, where's the body going? you know. To me, this notion of how in the Vedas, I mean, this was one of the best sentences I've heard in this lifetime, where it's from the Vedas and it says, the seer of the seen is unseen. That means the inconceivable is viewing the conceivable. The moment it moves as the conceivable, it becomes the conceivable, but the moment it stops moving, it is the inconceivable. That's it. Effort leads to conception. Effort is let's say, a universal power in whatever form it finds itself. It goes towards conception. That means the inconceivable can't have effort. It's like, what would an inconceivable effort look like, So really, it's that I think it's that we are being individual human beings because a universal field of intelligence has not become responsible for its selves, for its various dimensions, right? Because we limit human intelligence, we limit intelligence to the human idea, even, right? Or even technological. Let's say that's non-human. But I'm saying, what an intelligent being can be, I mean, on some level, it's bound to shape. So intelligence can have a shape, or it could just be potential. It's as if, think of it this way, potential energy becomes kinetic energy the moment you move. So it's as if potential energy is divinity. It's like heaven. It's like, let's say, the God state, where everything's possible, everything's available. And then the moment there is an action, or just like in religion, Adam and Eve, they take the fruit. It's as if the first mistake was the first time, like, collective potential turned into individual, actualization. And it's, what's strange? It's that nature can so surpass human understanding that we're just playing our own game with language. And what language does is that it's like fingers pointing to an image or a film at best. I even think about it on a much bigger scale, like how many types of creature-based civilizations have there been in the whole cosmos? I think the only, how in religion it says, like, a man is made in the image of God? I feel, and the image of God is inconceivable. I mean, this sentence, man is made in the image of God, it could be like how the human body is a divine archetype, or it's that when we say man is made in the image of God, that means in God's sight. Because honestly, an awareness in a changing world, like what is awareness doing? Why is awareness why it's like what made, a creature that was like, let's say, and at the beginning I said 4 types of evolution: unconscious world, unconscious self, conscious world. So it's like, why would an unconscious self, why would the body of a creature that has, let's say, no intelligence other than just movement and reacting to the environment, right? Why would this body choose to become aware of itself? Why would an object need to see how it is an object? You know what it is? All human beings are in a simulation, but this simulation is not existential, it's experiential. The experience of existence is like there's a simulated nature to it, even momentary, on a momentary level. But how the concept of an origin is there, it's as if even if there is the view of an illusion, like the truth has to be there, so there is an illusion of something. So truth is prior to the concept of illusion, or independent of the idea of an illusion. It could be that the mastery of, let's say, samsara, how this term given for, it's pretty much how in Vedic thought they saw everything as an illusion. I would say the mastery of this illusion is to fully experience, it's kind of like a spiral. It's like the point of life is not to find like some treasure of truth, but it's to see as much as you can before the curtains are pulled. And when I say see, it's as if there is a level of seeing where, okay, your eyes are looking at something, and then there is an awareness to your sight. It's as if, is it sight that is seeing sight? Is it a thought? Is it right now, like whoever's listening to me, see how unknown the existential situation is? That if I ask someone, are you an object? It's like some people say yes, some people say no. A solipsist would say no, probably. Like solipsists are living as purely mental beings. If I ask someone, are you a subject right now? That means whoever's listening to me, are you a subject? In anything that's conceivable and changing, you cannot be. You're the viewer of it. Attributeless viewer of all the attributes of reality. Which is another way of saying it's as if like Mr. Within doesn't exist. When I say Mr. Within, that means what is within that is aware of body and aware of, let's say, the subjective inner realm, noumenon. I think maybe any shift from the human position, it's as if like somebody walking on a rope, tightrope, let's say between like I don't know, Niagara Falls or something, or between 2 skyscrapers, and it's as if they lose balance. I've thought about why is it that they say ignorance is bliss? And for a physical being, of course, it is ignorance is bliss. You know? That means there isn't an overwhelmment of like meaning. So because what it is like we're being such a small part of a universal activity, a cosmic activity, but the cosmos is so big, right? And we're like, what does it mean? It's honestly like the language threshold. Anything that is like not a film, I can't speak about. That is not, like there isn't a visual component to it, it's as if. I'm gonna do something here. I'm gonna read something for the listeners. It's something it's just this, like a chapter from this book I wrote, which is unpublished, called The Source of Language. For the ape's step. Others were never interested in the monkey business, going the wrong direction. As it is observed, we can choose to see the world within a frame of design or not. Some artworks are chaotic, but the imagery of accepted reality in your mind is like the edge of your ego that, like an iceberg, reveals only a little bit of what it is. If reality was multidimensionally void in the beauty of cosmic intelligence, the source of language has already responded to how the expression is to be received. A drop does not have any questions for the ocean that it is being. Do not focus your attention on what does not serve you. Prioritize self-realization like a father that is reuniting with his son, and I spelled it S-U-N. The body of the soul, in brackets ego, and the mind's void space, in brackets space, cannot withstand the grand majesty of self-realization's stream. That once you are in tune with existence, non-existence could never touch the eternal moment that is beyond the expression of a cause and effect story-like experience. There is no need to fight blindness with blindness. Shine like how the solar system has made you. We are in an era where self-realization matters and shall become a great tidal wave and catalyst for new multidimensional renaissances inspired by the now to occur. Just like many applications, the application requires to be updated. Shall a loud mouth turn into the silence of consciousness? And then I've given a shout out to myself here when I wrote this. As Mr. Within has said, we are in many rooms at the same time. What that means is that the planet remembers every memory, every civilization that has spun around itself in space. Either the explorer is clarity or the explorer is confusion. Don't fuse with a reality that is a fusion of cons. Honor your divine moment and let life reveal itself to you. For greatness cannot wait to meet itself beyond ideas. The hammer is heavy and it must be carried for a long time, but it is only needed for an instant of time. Language should be utilized with the silence of divinity, already acknowledged as origin's origin. The sun does not burn you, the ego does. This unknown accumulation that is you, that is imposing a static idea, even though it is in a dynamic state. What is greater than words remains so. What is greater than worlds was beyond a clean mirror. It is as if you have become so in tune with nature that your intuition always has known how to be, for intelligence is naturally being itself. Behind your eyes, you are God's essence. In front of your eyes, you are the creation of the world. Activate your mind by revealing it as your greatest teacher. Who would have thought in this modern age they are their own greatest teacher? And advice to all writers: write the book that you want to read, so the best book you can read is the one you write. It reveals to the world how the nature of your mind is working. There is no block. The design of language must not be used ignorantly. The root cause of speech for a person who writes something and wants to also share something, the experiences of the current moment must be communicated fractally onto the page, smoother than the reflection in the mirror of change. Reality requires self-awareness and sincere, selfless action. Like how social media must be used, like watering a plant, and you must focus on the... How long is this? Okay, I'll keep going. Like how social media must be used like watering a plant, and you must focus on the destiny of truth that this moment is now, and has always been the now. What secret do you feel that has not been shared to you, that this moment of existence and being has not already revealed to you as your moment? Beyond the heavy knees of writing a lowercase t, nature is its own divinity. Perhaps glory is selfless collective beauty and self-realization. Even self-remembrance is a great word to use here. Ask yourself and God shall answer as you. Language could never be like the prophet within your eyes that already knows everything. Just like how the emptiness of the cup, once the tap is open, has the potential to be full beyond the requirement for measurement. A person who writes something wants to share something. As you share your experience of life, and the more truthful and sincere the work is, the more people understand how the book reflects your mind. Keep in mind, guys, I wrote this like years ago, what I'm reading right now. A book is a communication to the world around you. What do you have to say? You should confront and communicate. A meditation shall naturally bloom in your moment, whereas focus enhances on the root cause of all problems. The center of the sky never went anywhere. Study the design of your experiencer, then transcend it. Who feels outed? Who can't accept whose inability? Are you separate from life or a part of it? Do you find the intelligence that you are separate from all that is at once? Oh my, okay, let me read that again. Do you find the intelligence that you are separate from all that is at once, as if you're being the part of the universe right now? Human beings are natural expressions of the universal sector. True yoga is not about the poses. It is about the selfless devotional service to the absolute intelligence that you are, and your moment is being. It is about being in tune with your moment, and it all happens. The surfboard on the wave of chaos and order is empty, beyond feet. Why do you think they speak about Bhakti yoga? I'm reaching the end, guys. Just bear with me if this is too much for you, whoever you are listening. See, that's the good thing about writing, guys. You know, when you're given a talk years later, you can suddenly bring it up and read it. All right, let me speed through this. Why do you think they speak about Bhakti Yoga, the yoga of devotion? Because those who have truly confronted this life as it is are not concerned about the ideas of this world. They realize experience is something for an idea to navigate, but beyond ideas there is greater expression. A great unified intelligence that is highly unspeakable, but a remembrance that can never be forgotten. You're looking for self-realization. That means to study the self that you are, and that means listening to your moment of life as it is happening. Self-realization, and the way I've written it here is like the I in the word self-realization is like in quotations and it's a capital I. Self-realization for the writer can mean for one to let the book intuitively happen, like the miraculous genius in the seed's design and within your eyes. It is like once you have enough attention and focus, the nature of thought reveals itself. Don't chase the divine butterfly, let it land on your forehead. You are your own righteousness, and patience is required until the ripples on the pond have settled themselves. Once you see the life around you, the whole moment is being all of it and a part of it through a simultaneous elegance and cosmic fortitude. It is so easy, your book will naturally be written because you have realized what is within you is within all that is in the moment. Beyond the ignorance of education systems of this world that indoctrinate too much language and its emphasis, the barks of dogma for many can be heard from childhood on. A true free thinker is free beyond thought. Before any voice, the silence is its only command. We are the stars of God. Nothing can be hidden. There are patterns here beyond the movement of abstract gods. Remind yourself beyond the experience of the edge of worlds. The song of the sage is heard here and now. Be playful with language until self-realization is allowed. Oh my God, that was so long. You know, I was like, okay, here, I'm going to read a quick thing, you know. Yeah, guys, you know, I'm honestly reaching this point where I'm like, you know, philosophy's edge is the unknown. Knowledge's edge is the unknown. It's honestly on some level just ideological costume games if we want to talk about truth. But if the human being has access to an experience, that means something happens in whoever you are, you suddenly experience something unknown. Some unknown event take place. You know, not just a Jungian synchronicity, but just something so unknown that it overwhelms you. And it overwhelms you in such a way that you know directly what it is. You know, it's like imagine somebody walking in a park and then they see some bushes move, okay? And then they suddenly see like there's a bird in the bushes. They actually see the bird, right? It's as if the moment they see the reality of something and even the reality of unknown, let's say, intelligent occurrence, then experientially the person updates regardless of whatever conditioning they've had. Even this thing that we say people are conditioned, it's as if people's memories may be, you know, they may be chained to certain, linked to certain memories, inefficient memories of themselves. But in reality, the point of free will is that you can find novelty. Like that's the reason for the free will, right? If we were just, life was just meant to, you know, happen in accordance to the past, there would be nothing new. Like imagine one religion out of all the religions that there exist now. Imagine this one religion becomes like a religion of the whole planet. even in the future, let's say there's been alien contact, even the aliens are converted to that religion. Robots have been converted to that religion, imagine, right? And it's as if the whole time we'd be like, how many different ways of reality did we miss out by just trying to hang on to the past? And why is the cosmos archiving civilizations? Oh man. There's this silly joke I heard. It's this joke where let's just say person A and person B. Okay, person A, it's like a story of these two people in the marketplace. And one of them says to the other, hey man, if you were in the middle of an ocean and you saw a shark, what would you do? And the other person suddenly, he gets overwhelmed and he's like, I'd climb a tree. And then the first person who asked the question looks at him and it's like, what do you mean you'll climb a tree? You're in the middle of an ocean. There's no tree there, and the shark's about to attack you. What do you do? And and then the person responds, he's like, you don't get it. I have no choice. And that's the end of the joke. It's a silly joke, but the idea was that person was so, what's the term, enraptured, so possessed by their inner truth of reality that they could not see another way, right? That means imagine in the future there's some sort of alien contact, okay? And the aliens come down and we're like, oh my god, aliens, why have you come? And the aliens are, let's say poetically, hilariously, let's say the aliens look at us and they're like, we're here to tell you that you guys aren't human beings. That your humanity is in some sense the Iron Man suit of a collective being. Poetically, it's like it's the body. Right now a bunch of cells are like being me as a human being. So we can have this view that it's as if like a bunch of human beings are being one collective entity. That means the collective mind that our species has, and you can't even take it to such a point where all species have their own collective mind. You know what it is? It's like all creatures, or let's say intelligent movement. That means, okay, we have, let's say, a fox, jump from like one stone to another stone on this river, and then let's say we have a pebble falling from the mountain, okay? So it's as if the fox is intelligent because of its movement, but then we can say that rock falling off the mountain is also we could choose to see that as intelligence, but it's the awareness to intelligence that is really what is intelligent. That means we're still identifying with like matter changing. It could be that our future would be so advanced that there would be no longer a concept of birth and death. It would just be a concept of kind of entrances and exits, which is another way of saying that means before you entered somewhere, you were somewhere. After you exit somewhere, it's like you will be somewhere, Anyways, I should apologize to the listeners. I had a sort of flow going, and then the interruption kind of disturbed that flow. The technical difficulties. And, hopefully that day will come where, I have this vision where, I don't know how to say it, but like, what is right now being spoken, in the future it can be a world accessible. You know, it's as if we're living in a time, let's say, where people they read about worlds in books, but in the future through cyberspace, you can actually go live in a book. Can you imagine, you know, everybody in the future who wants to be religious, you know, they go into cyberspace and it's like a pure religious universe. Anybody who wants to be secular, they go into cyberspace. It's a pure secular universe. Something fascinating I'll share with the audience. The idea came up in my science fiction, and I'm working on you know, at least a collection of science fiction stories aside from certain novels. But this idea occurred to me that what if in the future cyberspace becomes so fascinating? That means like it's literally the age of artificial paradises, the future I'm talking about, right? So it would be as if it would be, and imagine all the, let's say, cruel based elitist power of control, or like, you know, those, it's as if elitist power, instead of playing games with human beings, it would be as if like the wealthiest human beings will be like, okay, we're giving it all back to humanity and we're going to go into cyberspace and be a god. Do you see what I'm trying to say? We could get to a future where we get bored of like the amount of exposure we get from just living as a normal human being on this rock. You know, in one of my inner visions, I saw that it was pretty much me trying to fathom the future. And an inner vision that came to me is that there's going to be these giant rectangular kind of like buildings horizontally in the sky, and they're going to be filled with like people in pods, and their brains are in cyberspace, and yet they're living in the earth. That means it's as if like your body is, so think of it this way, as if your body is in like a kind of like Matrix level thing, right? Where it's as if the body is somewhere and the person's mind's connected to like the Matrix, but the Matrix would be like the live streaming of actual reality, right? Because what is living on this planet is not a body, it's a mind, right? And so the issue is that the more we actually physically live, I mean, the body is kind of designed to not be preserved like more than 100 years, right? At least with the kind of food system we have on the planet now. Like the different kinds of, you know, this might be extreme, but there are cultures on the planet that are destroying themselves from the inside, and there are cultures on the planet that are already destroyed from the outside. Because the mind has an additional sight, guys, you know. I'm telling you, your mind has access to a sight that has nothing to do with light. Like, I mean, it's like light, I shouldn't say nothing to do with light, but it's as if whoever you are listening, just try this out for me, try this out right now, and write in the comment section of this video what your observation is. Close your eyes and remember, try to see like something you did yesterday. Try to see even like what the color, let's say what time of day it was in your, like behind your eyes, you know. You'll be fascinated. You're seeing image while your eyes are closed. Perhaps this whole time human intelligence has been a hidden door. Thank you for listening. I'll end the episode here. And in a little bit, I might be on Discord for those interested. I might. I don't know. Thanks for listening, honestly. And one more thing I'll say. I've written this in this is one of those, you can say, it's a sentence I've written that I'm really proud of. An advanced civilization is our future's birthright. And what that means is that as human beings alive right now, for your inner life, the purpose of the meaning of life, I would say, is advanced communication. So that means behind your eyes, seek advanced communication, and in front of your eyes, seek the advanced civilization as a physical entity. It is like, aside from the human being just accepting where it is, it must see further, right? That's the whole point of life, right? It's as if it's not enough just to know who you are. You also require to know the potential of who you are, right? That potential, I find, has a more majestic position, you know. Anyways, thanks for listening. Much blessings and namaste.